Hey, welcome back to the Genuine Ginger podcast. I'm your hostess, Mackenzie Quintana, and I am feeling a little bit better this week, thankfully. I think I recorded my last episode was on Monday. Today it's Saturday, and there's been some improvement. So, very grateful. I've had lots of tears between now and then over being sick. Hashtag luteal phase. So, just emotions are all over the place, anyways. But, anyways, I'm still slightly congested though, so that is why I sound like I sound. Hopefully, by next episode, I won't sound like this. Crossing my fingers. Happy 4th of July if you're in the United States and you're listening to this around when it is released. It'll be 4th of July tomorrow. And so hope that it's a fun day for you. On this podcast, if you don't know already, I am sharing the things that I have learned that have just really kind of helped me turn my life around. Not that it was going in a bad direction before. It was just very blah most of the time. I felt very unfulfilled. I say often that I used to dread going to bed at night because I didn't want to wake up and just do another boring, monotonous day of just life as a young mom. And it was just very blah. And yeah, I mean, I was happy, but um, not as happy as I knew I could be. I think is ultimately what it was, and I wasn't as happy with myself because I knew that I could be better and that there was that I had more potential that I was living up to, type of thing. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't quite step into that person that I dreamed that I could be. And so these are kind of just little pieces of the puzzle that kind of helped me see the bigger picture and understand what I needed to do and understand a little bit more about who I could be and then how to become her. So, um, today we're going to talk about desire, and I'm excited to see what I say. I realized that um, for me it's as I speak I kind of joke that I ramble sometimes, but I figured out that that's kind of how I decipher as I speak, and I get the words out of my mouth. I'm able to kind of, in my brain, if I'm just thinking about things in my brain, then my brain interferes and it tries to give me different ideas that aren't necessarily truth, but as I speak it I can recognize the truth. And so I really enjoy talking and sharing these things with you, because it's a way for me to also discover more truth and share that with you. And so I'm excited to see what I say today about desire, because I really don't have a lot in my head right now to share. So maybe it'll just be a short episode. But I remember. So desire, first off, desire, if you break down the word desire, means of the Father. D means of, sire means the Father. And so desire, as I've come to learn, the desires that we have are given to us, placed into us by God, by the Father. And I am going to make an effort moving forward that every time I refer to God, I mean God and Goddess. I believe that in the scriptures, I should have looked this up before I actually said it to double check, but the word that was used in the scriptures, and now I think it was Elohim, the original word. I know that there's lots of words to lots of names for gods, but one of them for God, meaning Heavenly Father, but one of them that was used is actually plural. So it meant Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, but we've kind of lost that over time. And I 100% believe that. And I actually do desire to look into that and because I've heard that that is true, but I haven't actually looked up that for myself. But I believe it. I believe that Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother are in it together. That she is absolutely a part of everything that happens in our lives as much as he is. And so when I'm going to say God and then I'm going to say they, meaning God, meaning God and Goddess, meaning Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother. So I believe that our desires come from them, right? They come from Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother. And I had this realization a couple years ago because I had this desire. Maybe we could say it's a goal or a dream or a vision or a desire. All of those words kind of can mean the same thing. And it was to go on this trip with my husband to this really cool place in Costa Rica. And I knew that there were going to be things that I had to do to be able to afford this trip and to just like enjoy it the way that I wanted to and just different things. And so I knew that there were going to be things that I had to do in order to be able to do this trip, to go on this trip. And I spent I don't remember how long it was that I was like doing different things to work towards, this trip, to being able to go on this trip. And all of a sudden I realized like, oh wow, this is actually like all of these things that I'm doing to like help me be able to go on this trip have actually also helped me become a better person. Like, and I'm trying to think of like specific examples, but because I was wanting to be able to afford to earn money through my business, selling makeup to help pay for the trip. And so as part of growing my business, there were certain things that I had to do that were outside my comfort zone. And so I had to, step outside my comfort zone. And there were, I needed to be able to help more women and serve more women. And there were, things that I had to, like, beliefs that I had to let go of about myself, that, beliefs that I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't pretty enough, or I wasn't, all of these things, smart enough. I wasn't, all these different things that were keeping me from having the success that I desired in my business. I had to, kind of let go of those beliefs, or at least try to. Some of them are still there. But and then, I wanted to be able to just really, really enjoy it with my husband. And so I wanted to be able to have a better relationship with him so that this trip could be really enjoyable and fulfilling for us. And just, all of these things that I had to change and do and to be able to go on this trip. And all of a sudden I realized God sees us and sees us with our greatest potential, right? They created us, right? Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, God and Goddess created us. And so they know our full potential, right? They know who we can become, the amazing women and men that we can become. And they want us to be that person, right? They want us to be able to reach that potential, or at least, keep moving toward it. I don't think any of us are going to really reach our full potential here in this life, but they want us to just keep, get as close as we can. And they can, and one of the ways that, so if we look at it from going from point A to point B, which it's more like point A to point Z, right? There's a lot that happens between there, but from point A to point B, and they can help us get there by just every day doing these little nudges, these little promptings, these little oh, come on, try to do that, or oh, you can do this, or even through trials, right? We all know that trials are a way that we can grow and change and have experiences that can help us, that we can learn from. And I don't believe that they give us trials necessarily, but they help us they help those trials that we have become something good for our growth. And I know we've talked about that before. So, those are all things that they can do to try to help us get to point B. And they can also give us a desire. that they know that in order for us to be able to reach that desire, to accomplish that desire, to have that desire, there's going to be things that we're going to have to do. And we're going to have to choose to do those things and choose to change and to grow and to step outside our comfort zones and to do all of those things so that we can become the person that and have the, you know, the circumstances in the life that can have that desire, right? And so what a better way to help us become that person that they desire us to become than by giving us a desire that is going to fulfill us and enrich us, and on the way, you know, help so many other people too, and just like help us become that person that we're meant to be. And then also have this really amazing thing happen to us, right? By like fulfilling this desire that we want. So, this trip didn't end up coming the way at the time that, and it wasn't even the destination that I ended up desiring, that I had initially desired, but I did end up having this trip, and it was really amazing. And it did, like, the getting there wasn't anything that I thought it would be, but the person that I was on that trip was the person that I desired to be and envisioned myself being with the trip that I had initially envisioned. And so, other examples are, you know, I've wanted to grow my business and to be able to be a leader to help women. And like I said, there's been things that I've had to change and overcome, and beliefs that I've had to let go of that were keeping me tied down. And I think for most of us, we get a desire in our mind or in our heart, and most of the time we push it aside because we're afraid, right? Believe me, like with my business, it has not gone the way that I desired it to be. I started it in 2020, so we're 2024 right now, so 4 years in, and when I started, I envisioned myself in 4 years being, you know, one of the top in the company, and because that is possible. I know that, you know, I know it's possible. There are women who have done that. But I am not. I am not top of the company. I'm, you know, if you look at just at the numbers and the hard facts, honestly, I'm not very far from where I started 4 years ago. But I am a completely different woman than I was 4 years ago because of the things that I have learned, and the experiences that I've had, and the ways that I have pushed myself out of my comfort zone, and the just opening myself up to that possibility of being a top leader, even though I'm not there yet. It has given me permission to open myself to other to possibilities in other areas of my life, and just, you know, leading into those desires, no matter how far out there or scary or even just like that doesn't make sense or that seems so impossible, no matter how much they may appear that way, like, do it. If you have a desire in your heart, follow it, because not only is it gonna like lead you to be who you desire to be, that like best version of yourself, not only is it gonna help you get there, but it's gonna help so many other people as well, as you're on that journey. And if you have that desire, like I said, it's because God and Goddess like kind of gave you that desire. And so they've already got it figured out. They already have a way for you to be able to have that thing that you desire. And it may not look, you know, at the end, it may not look the way that you envisioned it to be in the first place. Like I said, with this trip, like I wanted to go to Costa Rica, and we ended up going to Hawaii. Darn, you know, like, you know, so it wasn't the destination that I desired, but I still, when I would envision this trip of going on this trip with my husband, and I would imagine how I would feel and what, some of the things that we would see and the experiences that we would have, the activities that we would do, we did like I still had those experiences, and I still felt that way, and I still had the emotions that I had envisioned in that those things that I had envisioned happening in Costa Rica. I still had them in Hawaii, and it was an amazing trip. And so, like, letting go of what exactly it needs to look like, and just keeping in mind that, how you want to feel and what type of experiences you want to have, and who you want to become along the way, and who you want to become and who you want to be in that moment, and letting go of the rest, and just trusting that God is going to help you, because they want you to have those things. That was another thing. I'll just end with this. That was another thing that I didn't really realize, that God, they want us to have really enriching, fulfilling, amazing experiences, because that is, number one, how I feel like they kind of living vicariously through us isn't the right word, but it's like when you're a parent and you see your kid doing something amazing, and then it fills you up too. If you see your kid succeeding in a sport that they've been working at for a really long time, like, it fills you up too, and it makes you feel so proud, and it makes you feel so good. And so it does that for them, number one, but it also helps the world. Like, the more that each one of us individually can step into our dreams and our desires, and having amazing experiences, and having a fulfilling life, and having those desires that we want, the more we do that individually, the more that we give permission for everyone around us to do the same. And so then they do it, and then more and more, we're all just like living in a better place, because we're happier, and we're having those desires that we wanted, so we feel better, and so then we're wanting to help each other more, and we're wanting to love each other more, and we're wanting to give back more, and just all of these things. And so I'm sorry if my voice is and my congestion is like sounding really bad right now, but anyways, that has been like giving myself permission to go for my desires, which, I mean, I know that I'm still playing really small in that regard, and I have, many desires that I'm not really feeling like I can step into, but I'm trying. I desire to be a homeschool mom and love and enjoy doing homeschool, and I'm trying to do that, like I am. Some days it's not quite there, but each day I'm trying, and I know that doing that, becoming that person, that version of me, is going to help me be a better person. And so, it's going to bless my kids' life, my family's lives, and then they're going to be a blessing to the people around them, and it's just going to be this ripple effect, right? And so each one of us has the ability to be a ripple effect. And one of the ways that we could, a ripple effect for good, right? We could also be ripple effects for bad. But one of the ways that we could be a ripple effect for good is by going for the desires that we have in our heart, leading into them and striving to have them and accomplish them or reach them, or whatever way that you want to say it. So yes, so beautiful. I hope that if you don't have any desires in your heart right now, take some time to just ponder. If you could be doing anything right now, what would it be? And as I've been talking, if you've had some thoughts come up, and like these secret things of like, oh, I really wish that I could do that, but I just don't know how, or I don't know if I could, or like, just start. First off, just like step one is to just be like, okay, like, let's just like make that a possibility. Like, let's just say that could happen, that maybe it's a possibility. And then from there, just like, okay, well, if it could happen, if it was a possibility, what could could there be that I could do that could maybe start me in that direction of being able to have that dream? Like, just start playing with it. Just start kind of, I've heard it said, like, pull the thread. Like, just be playful with it. Just see where it goes. And I promise you it's going to be magic wherever it ends up going. I love you, Tez, and we'll talk to you next week.